everyone. Shalom. Good evening. I hope everybody here are feeling well and feeling good, and I hope that you are comfortable in your house, in your home. So, welcome to our second day of our virtual tour to Israel, together with Neshama Life and JNF Australia. And how exciting it is that we're going to go deeply now to the Tzfat, to the city of Tzfat. 2 weeks ago, we went around of Tzfat, and now we're going to learn about Tzfat itself. We're going to have with us, of course, Zevik, our beloved tour guide. And this is just a reminder for those who wants to go to Israel. This coming year, we have a day trip. We have a few missions during the year. So if you haven't signed yet, if you haven't put your interest in, do it. It's very, very exciting to have you in Israel. And of course, how can you miss Zevik? I mean, Zevik is our tour guide. I want to say shalom to in Yerushalayim, Dovi Paritsky. Shalom, Dovi.
Hello, Ozis. How are you? Good to see you. Good again to see you. I think that Igal didn't choose by coincidence the song Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. You know, today in Israel, you can't believe how much people want to volunteer and help the Jews in Ukraine. And you can see that we actually, the Kakal JNF in Israel, we have about 100 children that the parents could not look after them, and they gave it to us. And you can't believe that for one child, it about 500 people wants to volunteer and help him. It's beautiful. So what we think about Jewish responsibility today behind the war, it's something to appreciate, to see how much, it's not only Jews, I'm saying, but in Israel, but Israel and the Jews are actually, you see that they are higher from and doing everything that they can. And it's something beautiful to look about responsibility and tikkun olam, which is something very beautiful. And again, I'm very excited to see that you always, Igal is give you more and more Israel, and Israel is in your heart. Thank you, Igal, for that, and all the best, and enjoy the program today.
Toda Rabba. Dovi is the head of the programs in JNF in Israel, and Dovi is the 9th generation in Jerusalem. How amazing is that? I will be so proud to be the 9th generation. I'm actually the 1st generation in Jerusalem. I'm a sabre of parents who moved from Sweden, born and raised in Sweden. So I'm a sabre, born and raised in Yerushalayim. And how amazing is that to be 9th generation? Okay, so
years. That's what it means. 200 years.
200 years, absolutely amazing. Whew. Okay, so now we're going to start with our virtual tour. But before we start with the tour with Zevik, I decided to show you something unbelievable of Tzfat. You know, if you were now standing with Zevik just outside of Tzfat and looking at Tzfat and feel the wind going and the sun rising, and this is the real feeling. You can only be in Israel to feel that feeling of holiness. But we are not there yet. We are in Australia, and so it's we want to show you a bit of excitement, a bit of a promo thing that we have for you about Tzfat. So I'm going to show you 3 minutes of just to get you excited. So take a glass of wine, a red or white, whatever it is, and sit nice, comfortable on your chair, on your sofa, wherever, in bed, and just get into the feeling of Tzfat, because it's such an amazing place, a holy place. And after this promo video, we're going to move to our actual tour with Zevik, because this is the purpose of this. And straight after, a presentation from Zevik to give us a bit of deeper insights about Tzfat itself. So, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy. Just 1 second. Okay, I'm going to share the screen.
city that offers visitors a unique and diverse experience, connecting the past, present, and future. Tzfat. There's no place like it in the world. Our city connects local history to future tourism through a rich heritage. Magical alleyways creating a 4,000-year-old urban continuity. Each of Tzfat's alleyways has a soul that recounts, creates, and whispers tales of days past and people who were here, of miracles and acts of heroism that occurred at Tzfat's gates and in her streets. It's a fascinating encounter between Tzfat on earth and Tzfat of above, where a spirit of renewal and art exists alongside holiness and spirituality, which have been present for hundreds of years. You don't have to be a great believer to get excited about Tzfat's aura of holiness. Ancient synagogues where Torah scrolls and major hymns from Jewish culture were written, and an abundance of holy sites, as some of the greatest Kabbalists grew in Tzfat. Among them, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, Rabbi Chaim Vital, Rabbi Isaac Luria, and the author of the last great codification of Jewish law, Rabbi Joseph Caro. A Galilee heaven where you will be exposed to breathtaking natural treasures and spectacular parks. Among them, an innovative zoological park with a variety of animals and expanses of green for the whole family. And the rich Tzfat culinary. A variety of quality restaurants have opened throughout the city in recent years. Local dairy farms will allow you a glimpse into the secrets of the famous Tzfat cheese. And boutique wineries will give you a taste of wines manufactured from grapes grown on the summits of Galilee mountains. The Klezmer Festival has been exciting all of us. 3 days of Jewish music await you in Tzfat, with over 90 bands from Israel and abroad. Jewish music straight to the soul. I love Ladino. It's a language I heard at home. A musical and cultural language with soul, a smart language, of the people, and very funny. 3 days of Ladino await you in Tzfat, which connect the past, present, and future. This northern historical tourism gem combines everything we love. Breathtaking Galilee vistas, fresh mountain air, natural and cultural assets, a blend of city and country, heritage, revered historical figures, and cultural treasures. Come and discover Tzfat's secrets and reveal its magic. There's no place like this in the world.
Okay, so I hope you got a bit the feeling of Tzfat. And just before I move on to the actual tour, I just want to acknowledge and just say thank you, Ona Trigabo, for giving us the opportunity of exploring Tzfat, because Tzfat is so special, and I know that Tzfat is so special for you, and especially when you take groups to Israel, you show them Tzfat and deeply Kabbalah and everything. And Tzfat is something that every person needs to go when they go to Israel, have to visit, not only visit, but also experience. So I hope with this tour that we're going to do today, you're going to not only to be inspired, but also a bit of get the sense of experiencing Tzfat, because it is a very unique place in the world. So thank you, Ona. And here we go. We start our tour. Enjoy. 1 second.
when we walk in the picturesque alleys of the city of Tzfat, we can feel immediately the sense of holiness and spiritualism. The city of Tzfat today is a center of tourism, Jewish art, and Kabbalah. My name is Ze'evi Kedem, and I'm going to guide you today in an amazing virtual tour. The city of Tzfat is considered to be the capital of the Upper Galilee. The city was established on the mountains of the Galilee, 900 meters above the sea level. People lived here some 4,000 years ago. 3,200 years ago, the Israeli tribes conquered the land of Canaan. The tribe of Naphtali settled in this area. About 2,000 years ago, after the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, the Galilee became a center of Jewish life. Many scholars came with their students to live in the Galilee, and until today you can find many graves of those scholars around the city of Tzfat. There are also many ruins of synagogues in this area from this time. The golden days of Tzfat were in the 16th century. After the expulsion of the Jews from Spain and Portugal, the empire that agreed to absorb many Jews was the Ottoman Empire, and Jews came to live in the Galilee and brought with them the know-how to work the wool factories and wool clothing. It became known that the wool of Tzfat is even better than the wool of Venice in Italy, and Tzfat became a blooming city, a center of Jewish life in the Galilee. We are standing now on the roof of the Tzfat Kabbalah Center. With us, Rabbi Eyal Ries.
Shalom.
Shalom, Eyal.
Welcome.
But before I talk with Eyal a little bit about the Kabbalah, I would like your attention to the mountain behind me. This is Mount Meron, the highest mountain in the Upper Galilee, which explains partly the name Tzfat. Tzfat in Hebrew is overlooking, observation, and from here you can see the Upper Galilee in a beautiful way. Eyal, I would like to ask you, what is actually the Kabbalah? What is the Kabbalah in Tzfat? What is the connection?
First of all, you said part of it. You know, Mount Meron is famous the world over for being the burial place of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai from 2nd century, author of the Zohar, the classical text of Kabbalah, that now became so famous and widely available in different languages and studied by, hundreds of thousands of people around the world. Tzfat gained its name and fame as being the world capital of Kabbalah, mainly in the 16th century. After the expulsion of the Jews from Spain and Portugal, all the greatest Kabbalists, perhaps of all times, found their way here to Tzfat, and here they worked and wrote and taught, and they saw it as very important to disseminate the wisdom of Kabbalah to the four corners of the world. And nowadays, as the world is becoming so advanced and material and technological and scientific, people are looking also for spirituality, spiritual well-being. Actually, this is what our center specializes in, and therefore we host every year people from the world over for the study and experience of Kabbalah in the most authentic place where you can experience it, which is Tzfat. People around the world, Jews and non-Jews, show great interest in Kabbalah, because Kabbalah, what is it about? It's spiritual wisdom available to all.
Ze'ev, I would like to share a few words of wisdom with you regarding this very famous model of the Kabbalah, which is called the Tree of Life. This is a perfect demonstration of how the human body and faculties of the soul work together in harmony, just like hardware and software, soul and body, lights and vessels. You were born in the weekly portion in the Torah, in the Bible, which is called Kitetse, which means once you go out. It's a person who's actually outgoing, who's exploring, who's navigating, who's moving around and about, seeing things, sharing things. Now, if you look at the date of birth, Zayin Elul Tafshin Yud Bet, which is the year, it was 712. You see actually the letters of your name in the date of birth. And you were born on a Thursday. What's a Thursday personality? When you look back into the days of creation, on the 5th day of the creation, which is a Thursday, God created the birds and the fish. Again, smooth navigation, a lookout, observation like birds have on reality from a unique perspective, yet the ability to go deep into matter, just like fish sink underneath the water.
Thank you very much for telling me who I am.
Okay?
After 70 years, I know.
This is the Holy Ari Synagogue, the Sephardic Ari Synagogue, and this is the place where he actually studied and worked and prayed for the 2 years that he lived in Tzfat. The Holy Ari completely revolutionized our understanding of the Kabbalah. He downloaded, so to speak, from the heavens a new paradigm, an inner teaching of Kabbalah never known before his time. So this is a Sephardic synagogue. You see the setting, how it's actually built. You see, this is called the Bima, right here at the center of the synagogue, is where not just the Torah reading is done, but also this is the cantorial service they actually led from here while the congregation is seated around. This is the traditional way by which Sephardic synagogue operate. This tiny little chamber is the place where, according to Tzfat tradition, the Holy Ari studied for 2 years with Elijah the prophet. You see, it's a tiny little room with room for just 2 people.
Every Friday before Shabbat came the Ari and his pupils to this slope. They bathe in the Mikvah, and Holy Ari never dry himself after that because he said that the water are holy and the Shabbat is holy and the water should be absorbed in the body. And then they went out together, sang and danced in order to welcome the Shabbat. Rabbi Yitzchak Lurie, the Holy Ari, passed away when he was 38 years old. He's buried in the Old Cemetery of Tzfat. Next to him there is the grave of Rabbi Moshe Cordovero and Rabbi Shlomo Elkavetz. We spoke about the history of Tzfat, and our next talk will take us to the place that the people of Tzfat used to live in the 16th century. With us, Rabbi Meir Sendor, and he will share with us what was found in the digging under the city of today.
Yes, we're here on the campus of Livnot U'Lehibanot, which is one of the great educational institutions of Tzfat. And to understand the significance of this discovery, we have to understand that Tzfat sits on top of a mountain in a very active earthquake zone. And there were 2 catastrophic earthquakes, one in 1759, another in 1837, that really destroyed the city of Tzfat. And Tzfat of today is built layer upon layer. In these tunnels we see a cistern, which was used to collect water, and other rooms in which this community lived, which they studied and which they ate together and they lived together. The Arizal's mother forbade him to take a cold mikveh in the wintertime. And here we have a mikveh that's actually heated by its own oven. We think this was probably the real mikveh of the Arizal. So this was where the community, the Kabbalistic community of Tzfat probably lived, with their families. These are men and women together, some extraordinary men, and also some extraordinary women. Eventually we hope to develop this into a complete site, which will also be an educational center for Livnot U'Lehibanot, for people to experience our Jewish tradition and its spirituality in a direct and personal way.
Amazing. Good job.
Thank
you very much, Rabbi. The economy of the 16th century was based in Tzfat on textile, wool, clothing, and with us Orna Moore.
Hi.
Orna is the owner and the creator of the textile industry here, based more on talis and artwork.
My talitot look like art also. Not only talit black and white, I collect string from all over the world and put them together, and my wishing is for peace and love.
Here in this weaving studio, we preserve the heritage of the 16th century. In here we make hand-woven talitot, challah covers, matzah covers, shawls, scarves. Obviously you can make it by machine, but if you do it manually, you can change the colors according to your liking. Besides that, we do a special and personalized embroidery. That is one of the main advantages of doing a talit manually. The other one, which I think is a bit more important, is the part that when you do it with your hands, when a human does it and not a machine, a part of your soul, something that your spirit goes inside the fabric.
You told me something about a talis that you're doing right now.
Yes. So a year ago he was 20 and he wanted to get married. So they said, okay, let's buy a talit and then maybe he'll get married. So they came here, we designed his own talit. In half a year they're going to be grandparents for the first time from that kid that we made a talit for him.
So you are not actually a weaver, you are a shadchan.
And a weaver. I weave also fabric and also people, apparently.
I thank you very much for your stories.
Thank you too for
and
coming
for your
here.
work.
Thank
it
you
is
very much.
amazing.
Thank
you very much. In 1950, short time after the establishment of the State of Israel, the mayor of Tzfat recognized that many artists come to paint the beauty of the area and the city, and he offered them to start a new housing and a new studio here in the city. This was the beginning of the artist colony behind me. Shalom Avraham.
Shalom.
Well, I would like to tell you something. We started with Kabbalah on the morning. We continue with art in Tzfat. And here you have a combination of Kabbalah and art in the studio of Avraham Leventhal.
I didn't know anything about the Kabbalah growing up, all the inner spiritual side of Judaism. In college, I started to get a bit interested in spirituality a little bit deeper and started to read some books about the Kabbalah. And it was just life-changing for me. I wanted to learn more. That brought me to Israel. I fell in love with Israel and ended up staying here. The main theme I've been working with for many years, I've been working in different ways to map out the pattern of the shofar blowing on Rosh Hashanah. So on the New Year's, we blow the shofar. There's 4 different sounds we blow on the shofar. Throughout the entire day, we blow a total of 100 sounds. And we learn in the Kabbalah that very exacting ancient pattern of the sounds, that it's actually a very deep inner spiritual map. On the bottom is 1 triangle representing the first sound of Tekiah, the long single sound. The next line up, there's 3 triangles, which represents the Shvarim, which is like 3 shorter sounds. And then the next line up, there's 9 triangles representing the Tshuah, which is 9 like very short sounds. So this is mapping out the pattern of the 100 sounds. There's lots of learning in the Kabbalah what the pattern represents spiritually, but the basic idea, the lowest levels when a person's caring only for themselves, doesn't care for anybody else, and every level going up is coming to more and more truly care for everybody, all the higher states of consciousness. What I've started to do now is to take the basic set of the 4 different types of shofar sounds and to sound them through software that's mapping out the sound waves, and then starting to work with the results. So you kind of like see the sound. This will be the do, 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 do. This particular one I took from the the moment after the Six-Day War in Israel, when we came at the last moment to the Western Wall, to the Kotel, there was a very famous blowing of the shofar at that moment. When we write the word for God in the Torah, in Hebrew, we write with 4 Hebrew letters. With the letters Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey. In this picture here, it's just the 2 Heys. So we learned that these 2 letters represent our 2 basic states of consciousness. Every moment a person is thinking, what can I get right now? What can you do for me? That's a lower Hey. Every moment we're thinking, what can I give right now? What can I do for you? That's the upper Hey. So what can I get? What can I give? And we learned that at the root of all the transformation we're going through is that we're learning to make our giving to become more precious to us in our receiving.
It is very interesting. I thank you for your time and sharing with us your Kabbalah and your art.
Pleasure.
As well.
Thank you for coming. Thank you so much.
When you speak about art in Tzfat, you can't ignore the music life, the vibrant music life in this city. There are 2 festivals of traditional Jewish music, but there is one school, Maqamat School of the Eastern music, and Moshe with us is the founder and the visionary of the place.
I made Aliyah from the United States 20 years ago. I was living in California at the time. There were many reasons why I came, but to tell you the truth, one of the strongest was that my exposure to the music scene in Israel at the time. All the music that we play from the different cultures, whether it's from Arabic culture, Turkish, Persian, Moroccan, North African, or European, Eastern European, Balkan, it's a mix of both Jewish and non-Jewish cultures that have been for centuries kind of in harmony with each other in the music. They shared, borrowed, kind of much like the spiritual life. So Tzfat, because it has a central role in Jewish spiritual history, and for me it was personally an inspiration for me, and actually this building literally is an inspiration. It was the central market hall in the ancient Arabic Old City of Tzfat. So many of the things that go on here, were also happening 500 years ago. It's a very interesting scene, and the students in the school are also very active musically in the communities locally, some living in Tzfat and many in other communities nearby. So we playing a part in actively stimulating the local music scene.
Thank you very much, Moshe. Kol hakavod.
You're welcome. Pleasure.
We're almost at the end of the day, and we are meeting Eliezer Botzer.
Yes.
Eliezer is a musician. He's also a man that connected very much to the spiritual world. He was born here in Tzfat. He is a musician that gives shows and work in music all around the world, and is a father of 8 children. Amazing. And will you share with us and sing to us a little bit what usually people sing in Tzfat for Shabbat?
Or what do people sing in the whole world that was invented in Tzfat? Okay. So exactly in this place we are in now, 400 years ago, this was the field of the holy apples that the Ari Kadosh that you heard about today used to go out with his students together to receive the Shabbat, to stand in front of this sunset and receive the face of the Shabbat. Tzfat, we need to understand, Tzfat is the city of spirit. There's 4 holy cities. One is Hebron, it's earth. Tiberias is water. Jerusalem, we know, is the fire, is the heart. It's the highest, it burns everything up. So what is Tzfat? Tzfat is the wind. Tzfat is the spirit. So the Ari went out with his students to receive the Shabbat, to receive the light of the Shabbat. And one of his students, Rabbi Shlomo Alkabetz, he wrote the poem that we all sing, everyone, in their house when we receive Shabbat, Lecha Dodi. Yeah, we know the tunes that maybe we take the most traditional tune is Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Bekabela, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Bekabela, Shavu Mezacho, Bedibuecha Dishmi'anu,
אל המיוחד השם אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולנטילה.
You can join us.
הולך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה.
What a wonderful virtual tour we had today. We started early morning and we are finishing when the sun is setting on the mountains of the Upper Galilee. We had only a taste of what Tzfat can offer to all of us. We understood a bit of Kabbalah, spiritualism, art, tourism, and even archaeological digging in this wonderful city. I just want to hope that in your next visit in Israel, come and search the city more. There is a lot to see here in Tzfat. See you next time in Israel. All the best. Shalom and Litraot.
Okay, I hope you enjoy that, and don't go anywhere, because now we're going to have Zevik giving us more insights, more things about what we just watched. And Zevik, are you with us?
I guess so.
Good to have you with us.
Thank you very much, Igal. Thank you. It's very good to be with you guys. Are we on? Yes, I believe so. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can see you. We can see the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. דבר ראשון, shalom to everybody. This is our final meeting, I guess, on this kind of virtual tours. Just like to clarify that the virtual tour is not coming as a like video for PR or something. It's more to go and explore slowly from a place to place. I like to share with you the way that it was done. Yoav and myself started early morning before sunrise and finished the same day when the sun set. And we put as much as we could in one day in order to share with you the sites that we saw. We did about 10 of those all over Israel. And I hope that in a different times you will have chance to see them all. Today we are in Tzfat. I would like again to thank Orna Trigovov for supporting this virtual tour, and JNF Australia, the CEO Dan, and Eti and Igal and everybody that was involved. Thank you all for allowing us to do and to share this kind of experience. Well, again, a map of Israel. You can see on the left side that Tzfat is in the north side of Israel, and you can see that on the right side there is the Golan Heights, and in the north there is Kiryat Shmona and the country of Lebanon. So Tzfat is in the Upper Galilee in the northeast side of Israel. I don't know how many of you visited Israel before, so sometimes I will go back just to give a background, and we will be on the same stage and we will understand it better. What do I want to show you, or the content of this presentation? First of all, I would like to go to Tzfat in the Independence War. I didn't want to have it in the video because I wanted the video to be happy and to concentrate on the spiritual things. But it's like I thought for myself, sorry for saying it, if someone will do a tour in Kiev in 50 years, I don't think he will ignore the destruction that happened there in those days, unfortunately. So sad, of course, to see. So we were in the same situation in the independence of Israel. And I will enlarge a little bit and discuss it with you a little bit, not in the video, but in the presentation. Then I will go to some more synagogues. We saw a bit of them during the video, but I will give you some more information about those synagogues. I will mention ancient Tzfat that you saw in the video, talk a little bit about the Kabbalah, the painting, the music, and maybe give you 2 more attractions that you can see when hopefully you will come to visit the city of Tzfat, hopefully soon. Okay, I would like to go to the War of Independence of Israel in Tzfat. There are 2 very important dates in order to understand the War of Independence. The first one is 29/11/1947, the United Nations Partition Plan. And the second one is the last year, the 14th of May, 1948. There are about 6 months between the decision to divide the country between the 900,000 Arabs and the 600,000 Jews. The Arabs never accepted it. And on the same night, in 29 of November 1947, they started to attack the Jewish community in the country. And the other date is a different situation. Between those 2 dates, the British were still in Israel. They were on land. So the war was a kind of civilian war between Arabs and Jews that live in the country. From May 1948, the British were out, and the Arab countries, 7 Arab countries, invaded to the small Jewish country in order to demolish it, to destroy it, and to throw us into the sea. So I am talking about Tzfat at this time. You can see the second date over here. It speaks about a month before the British left the country. They left in the 15th of May, 14th of May. By the way, the 15th of May was Shabbat. So the country, the state was declared in Friday by David Ben-Gurion. So this is the 14th of May. A month before, 16th of April, the British evacuated the area and disappeared and left the Arabs and the Jews to fight in the city. What was the population at this time in the city? About 10,000 Arabs and 2,000 Jews. And now let's see. This is already a slide that I shared with you in the last presentation, but here you can see the city of Tzfat today. I lined for you in red the Jewish quarter, something like 700 meters long and about 300 meters wide. That was the Jewish quarter, and it was the oldest part of the city. And when the British left, they left the Jews in the hands of the Arabs that surrounded them in much larger population. And also the Arabs had on time, according to their information, about 3,000 fighters to fight against the Jews around here. The Jewish people in the quarter, the Jewish quarter, had maybe 200 people to defend themselves. So it was not really not equal situation. What it was happening, that the British gave the Arabs, not only that they left suddenly the area a month before they were supposed to. Over here, just above the red line, there was a police station, a British police station. They gave it to the Arabs. And over here on the top of the mountain, we call this area the fortress, a Metzudah in Hebrew, controlling all the area. They gave it to the Arabs. They informed them that they are living and gave it to the Arabs. So not only that the Jewish quarter was surrounded by Arabs, also the main strategic point in the city were given to the Arabs. This is the police station that I tried to point you. I brought you a better picture. And until today, look on the left side, you can see the fighting that was over here on this police station when we tried to take it over, because from here they controlled the Jewish quarter totally. And about a week they attacked from here the Jewish quarter in order to destroy it and the people of it, and they didn't succeed, thank God. One of the reasons they didn't succeed, that on the same night that the British evacuated the place and we received the information that they are living, there was a platoon of Palmach members. Palmach is the underground of the Jewish community. in the fortress that I showed you in the last movie in Biria. On the top of the mountain was a small fortress. They were training over there. So immediately there was a decision that they will come to help the Jews in Tzfat. The same night, 16th of April, at 3 o'clock at night, with ammunition, with guns, 35 young people from the Palmach found the way in 2.5 hours. They succeeded to infiltrate themselves inside the Jewish quarter, and they really lifted the feeling of the people that were alone over there. They brought ammunition, they brought guns, and experience of fighting. And that was a great situation that saved the hard times over there. This guy, Meir Bar, he was the commander of Tzfat until the Palmach people came in. This is a picture a bit later after the war. He became the mayor of the city at a certain time. He was a child that was born in Tzfat in an Orthodox family. But when he grew, he went to study in a college with Jews and Arabs, a regular college, general studies, and he became acquainted with the Arab population, and he knew how to deal with them. This helped him a lot to be the commander and to find the ways to defend the quarter, the Jewish quarter. He is holding in his hand something that is a development from Israel. They call it the Davidka. David was the invader, David Leibovich. He invaded mortars, few of them only, about 6 of them. A very big bomb. You can see the bomb over here, huge bomb, very inaccurate. It's something that made huge noise, but very small damage and very not the direct problem. But the noise that the Davidka did scared the Arabs. Don't forget that we were after the Second World War and the atomic bomb, and there were some rumors between the Arabs that the Jews has already atomic bomb, and the noise that this Davidka did made a big change in the fighting on the city. So I thought to share with you a picture of the guy that was the commander at the time, and the Davidka that helped a lot our forces in Tzfat and in Jerusalem as well. This is one more picture of another building right in front of the Jewish quarter, the old part of the city of Tzfat. Look on the walls. Until today, if you come over there, you can see how hard was the battle to save the Jewish quarter. And I brought you this picture just to show you the mixed population. You can see the guy, the Orthodox guy. This was the community of Tzfat. It was ultra-Orthodox community, not fighters, people that even didn't work, just study most of the time, lived from Chalukah, for money that arrived from abroad, many children to them, and all of them were in the Jewish quarter, altogether something like 2,000 people. The Palmach members that you can see down here and over here on the right side and over there on the left side, they came with the spirit of the Palmach and helped to save those people. Again, with the Palmach, 250 against 3,000 Arab fighters that surrounded the city. With the help of the Davidka, with the help of the courage of those people, they succeeded to save the Jewish quarter and to make Tzfat a Jewish state. The Arabs just fled the place. No one told them to go, but they were afraid, and they decided after fighting that they are leaving the city and fled all the way to other places in Lebanon, Syria, or in the Galilee. So this is the story of Tzfat in the Independence War. Unfortunately, remind very harsh battles that are happening today in our lives. I didn't believe, maybe you also, that we will experience it anymore, but it's happening right now, a desperate fight that in this case, thank God, finished as a success. We know we cannot allow to lose a battle, and the Independence War was amazing. Small communities succeeded to do the most and to make Israel a country even the resistance was very, very hard. Now, this is about the war. Now I would like to share a few more words, about 5-10 minutes. Then we will leave some time if someone wants to relate or to ask or to say something. So I'm going now to Rabbi Yitzchak Luria and share with you a few words about the synagogues. Rabbi Yitzchak Luria was a genius. When he was 3 years old, he was recognized as a genius, and he was the greatest Kabbalist that lived in Tzfat. He lived there only 3 years, but his influence was huge because, according to the belief, he got the knowledge about the Kabbalah and changed it to a version that could be explained to people. People could understand the Kabbalah much better from the time of the Kabbalah of the Ari. Now, by the way, passed on the way 38, very young, which shows that he was not healthy, but he left a great heritage. Now there are 2 synagogues that carry the name of the Ari, and one is the Sephardic. We saw it on the video that I prepared for you, and the other one is the Ashkenazi Ari Synagogue. Why do we need 2 synagogues of the Ari? Was there racism? Was there any problem between the communities? No. So I checked it for you, and I share with you that the original synagogue of the Ari was the Sephardic Ari Synagogue. This one I brought you in the video. Most of the tourists don't go over there because it's not in the tourist alleys. It's in the down part of the city, and you have to go downhill, and then if you go back, you have to climb uphill, and it's quite steep. Most people don't come over here. But this is the most ancient synagogue in the city of Tzfat. And as it was mentioned in the movie, try to remember the movie. I was there with Rabbi Eyal Ries, and we went into a chamber. And he said that this is the chamber that the Holy Ari, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, for 3 years met with the soul of Elijah the prophet and learned the Kabbalah. So this place is a unique place in Kabbalah because, again, according to the tradition, this was the real Sephardic synagogue, was the real place that the Ari prayed in, and also received the information in the small chamber that you can see. And I even light a candle there. If you remember, you can do it when you come to Tzfat again. And over here, the Ashkenazi one is carrying the name of the Ari, but practically it was not exist at the time of the Ari. It was built few years after the Ari by groups of Hasidic Jews that built it on a land that they called the Field of Holy Apples. That was known to be the field that the Holy Ari and his disciples, the students, used to go every Friday to welcome the Shabbat. And the area was very holy for the people, so they built on the same spot the synagogue and made it name after the Ari. You know that when you go into archaeology or you want to trace the date, you look some of the characteristic, and look on the Holy Ark over here. It's a very big one, 2-floor kind of, and you find those kind of Holy Arks in southern Ukraine, in Lithuania. Same type of synagogues. So this makes it clear that this is a synagogue that was built by Ashkenazi Hasidic, and it is carrying the name of the Holy Ari. This one is very close to the alley of the tourists, so many people visit here. Now you know the difference between the Sephardic and the Ashkenazi synagogue of the Ari. Another synagogue that many people visit is Rabbi Yosef Karo. This is in the alley of the tourists again. This is a very famous rabbi that lived in the 16th century. In fact, he wrote the set table, Shulchan Aruch, which is a code book for Jewish laws. We know that the Jewish laws are very ancient, and many times it is very hard to know those laws and to understand them. Many of them were transferred
by oral, by talking from father to children. So he gathered a lot of knowledge and put it in a book that make the Judaism much clearer. This is the importance of Rabbi Yosef Karo. But there is also a secret over here. If you go down to a kind of a chamber down of the synagogue, this one is, as I said, in the tourist alley, so many people come and visit here. There is a small chamber, kind of a cave under it, and according to the stories, this was the place that he met the Maggid. Maggid is a soul of an ancient scholar, a soul of an angel that shared with him the knowledge of the Kabbalah as well. And in fact, he wrote another book that is called Magid Yesharim. Magid is someone who is telling Magid Yesharim, and he shared this knowledge of the Kabbalah. So he became very, very famous. Rabbi Shlomo Elkavetz, the one that wrote the song of Lecha Dodi Likrat Shabbat, Bnei Shabbat Nekabla, was involved in this synagogue as well. So this is the secret that you find just under the synagogue of Yosef Karo. And by the way, this was used also as a Beit Midrash. It was not only a synagogue, and until today there is a Beit Midrash in the back of Rabbi Yosef Karo. And I brought you another synagogue to discuss a little bit, the Abu Ab synagogue. This is maybe the most beautiful one, a little bit south of the tourist alley. On the left, you can see the Holy Ark of the synagogue. And this Holy Ark is a very, very old one. But the secret is that on the right side of the Holy Ark, there is the oldest Torah scroll that exists in Tzfat. This was a Torah scroll that was wrote by Rabbi Yitzchak Abuab from Castilla, from Spain. It was brought by one of his students to Tzfat, and it is in this synagogue that carried the name of Rabbi Yitzchak Abuab from Castilla. There is the story that in 1837, you were told in the movie, there were two earthquakes. In 1837, there was a strong earthquake, and most of the buildings of Tzfat were destroyed. Only the southern wall, where the Holy Ark stands, was not damaged at all. And the story between the Jews of Tzfat, that this is because of the holiness of this special Torah scroll. They get it out of the Holy Ark only 3 times a year. I once, by the way, when I prepared the tour, I asked them, can I get the book outside? They said, no way. Everybody that look at it, not in the time, it cannot finish even 1 year of life. So they don't do it, but only in Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Shavuot. That are the 2 times. On the top, you can see, you can have symbols of the 12 tribes all around the dome. You have also crowns of the Torah, crown of the salvation, crown of the different authorities that are in the land and stuff like this. You have some musical instrument over here, biblical ones, and you have kind of the shrine of the dome in Jerusalem that says that this side is the side of the temple in Jerusalem. So this is another synagogue in the Old City of Tzfat. I brought you 3 of them with small stories that connect you to the place. Okay, I will run now because I would like to leave few moments for you to ask questions. This is an example of alley, of the tourist alley. This is the general exhibit. Before you get into the Jewish quarter, there is a mosque that was left by the Arabs, and today this is the general exhibit, and about 36 different artists have an exhibit over there with different type of artwork and statues and even humoristic works, and this is a nice place to visit when you will come to Tzfat before you enter the alley of the tourists. This guy Shachar, you saw him in the movie, he is doing a job that I think is the only one that do it in Israel, a weaver with wool, and I brought it to you because he was a secular guy from a kibbutz, which is very interesting, originally from South America. he got married to a religious woman, and he became not religious, but he respected her by not doing this and not doing this. He said that only from the time he came to Tzfat, he decided to לחזור בתשובה, to return to be a Jewish that observed the Jewish laws, because the special spirit that he finds in this city is doing great job. They have beautiful work of wool down there, and if you will come to the tourist alley, try to locate him. This is quite amazing. Another word on Rabbi Iris. He surprised me. He asked me, what is your Hebrew birth date? So I gave it to him, and then he went into the computer and found the exact day that I was born, almost 70 years ago. I share it with you. And then he started to give me, listen, you were born in Thursday. In Thursday, God created the sea and the birds. So you have a free spirit and you go deep into things. And listen, if you want to have boost for your feeling, go to visit him. He's over there in the alley as well. And he finds in the Kabbalah different things that I find. I guess he will tell you good things in you that connects to the roots of the Kabbalah, and today even to the computer and to all the new and modern world, not only the oldest system. Those are the pictures of Tzfat underneath. And what that made me excited are the tools. The tools are the real life over there. And this I brought you in the movie. This is the mikveh that they believe it's the mikveh of the Ari. And what is the reason? Look down here. What is this? This is a stove. They warm the water. Now, in any other mikveh, there is not a stove under the mikveh, only here. But it is known from inscription that the Ari, his mother, demanded that he will not bathe in the mikveh in cold water. He passed away 38 years old, so maybe he was not healthy. And the only place they found a kind of stove under the mikveh was here in this excavation, and they do believe that the Ari bathed in this place according to the request of his mother to warm the water. By the way, today there is another mikveh that people believe that the Ari used to bathe also in. I went there one day, early morning, just the sunrise. I checked with someone what he's doing there. He was a firefighter. I asked, what are you doing here? He said, I'm from Tiberias. I come, and once a week I must come here in order to free myself from what that I see in my job, and I bathe in the cold water of the Ari. So this is kind of interesting things about the Ari. Eliezer Botzer, amazing musician, and this is Maqamat, great music in Tzfat. And this is, of course, the klezmer. There are so many things to do in Tzfat. I brought you two more. One is you can, if you are with children or by yourself and you want to write the Torah, inscribe Torah letters, and to learn how to do it, how they write the Torah, you can do it in Tzfat. And you also can visit the cheese factory that are 5 generations Jews who came from Iran, in fact, and they were jewelry, like they were jewelry. They used to work with jewelry. There was not enough requests for jewelry, so they started to do cheese. And everybody knows in Israel that Tzfat cheese, which is amazing. They do it from sheep. Today they sell it mostly all over Israel from cow, but this is something you can visit, the Meiri family, the cheese, and there is a museum over there. And those are two things that I didn't mention in the movie, but I thought to share with you. Sorry if it took a little bit too long. Thank you very much, guys. I hope to see you here in Israel, and more than anything, I want you to have good health and to be happy. Thank you from Israel.
תודה רבה, זאביק. We will extend a few minutes for you as well to ask more questions, but I just want to ask Orna to just give us a short message, and then we will go for some questions to Zevik. Orna?
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, JNF Australia and Yigal and all the team in Australia, And Zevik, you did such an amazing job. I learned so much, and I've been to Tzfat so many times, but you just showed so many new things. I can't wait to come back to Israel. And so I know that JNF has a tour this October, and also I'm taking a Kabbalah tour, a 10-day tour also in October. So I guess if anyone's interested, let me know. And just wanted to also say thank you for sharing about the JNF's project for the children that have been taken from the Ukraine to Israel to be looked after. So it's so touching. So good health, as Vivek said.
Toda Rabba, Orna, and I'm sure we'll see each other more and more tours, virtual tours, physical, whatever we can do. And Toda Rabba. Okay, questions, everyone. If you have a question, just unmute yourself. Feel free to ask Zevik anything you want to ask about everything. He has so much knowledge.
I know everything.
I have a question.
Yes, Ron.
What is the significance of the color blue in Tzfat?
The tradition is that blue is a good color. It connects to the talis usually. The color of the sky. When you look from the windows, you see the colors of the sky is blue. Sky is heaven. And it's a kind of color of good spirit, good luck.
Okay, good, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Someone else? Okay. So
Igal,
yes,
it's also the color of the David Star and Israel flag.
Of course.
Same thing.
Of
Same
course.
source.
Beseder Gamur. So I want to say Toda Rabba Eti for coordinating everything from the behalf of JNF. Thank you, Zevik. Toda Rabba, being such an amazing tour, an amazing speaker. And I'll see you very soon. I just want to share with you that we're going to have an educator tour. We're going to take teachers to Israel this coming July. So Zevik is going to be one of the tour guides. So teachers from New South Wales, Jewish, non-Jewish, going to inspire them. This is a tradition that we have done already. This is the 4th tour in the last 7 years. Over 200 educators all around Australia have arrived to Israel, and Zevik have been in each and one of those tours. So I'm always, before I'm already organizing a tour in Israel, I'm booking Zevik first. You cannot leave Israel. You cannot do anything else. Tell Michal that you cannot be with her for 2 weeks. So if you are coming to Israel by yourself, book a time with Zevik. So on behalf of JNF Australia, I want to thank everyone and thank you for participating, and have a wonderful week and a safe week. As Litraot.